I'm not going to go into spoilers, no worries, but one of the main themes of Dune is Paul being faced with an impossible choice, seeing a bad situation unfolding and no clear way to make it better. At every step of the way, there are legitimate and undeniable reasons to make certain decisions and take certain actions. But in the bigger picture, all these moments lead to the undesired outcome. Paul is trapped riding a train of events, options, and causalities, and he's trying to steer it, but the train's got a mind of its own and a direction it wants to follow. What can he do, and what similar situations do we face in our more mundane circumstances? Once, in a company long time ago, we started working with a new client. There were many expectations placed on this client from our side. There had been a lot of sales effort put into it, and it was supposed to be the next big thing for us, take us to the next level. At every stage from the first day, there were bad signs. Technically, attitude, politics, everything was a reason to worry with this client. At the same time, it's just the beginning of a relationship with a lot of potential. Can we not handle it? Can we not manage it? And taken one by one, every incident, every issue, it wasn't so bad. It was manageable. But as the weeks pass, you can feel it. This is not going to get better. But then again, at the same time, you know that nothing gets better unless you make it better. And you also don't want to give up. You don't want to quit. It's far too early. It's only been a few months. It will take a while, and maybe not this project. Maybe this one will never be good. But there will be other opportunities, other people to work with. This is a huge client. If only we get this one right. But in the meantime, you start paying the price. People are getting demotivated, frustrated, and you see it. If you keep going like this, you're going to lose good people. But at the same time, this could be the client that changes everything. And like in these silly LinkedIn memes, you don't want to give up here. And you start raising the issues, and so do others. It's not like nobody says anything, and you try to fix what you can, but at the end of the day, the conclusion is always the same. We must persist. We manage it how we can, we protect the people how we can, but this client is too important, we must go on. 12 months later, it's now clear to everyone. It's not going to get better, and this client is not going to be the next big thing. It's been a costly dead end. Now, it's easy to say that we shouldn't have done it. We should have stopped sooner. We should have known. But should we? And could we have known and stopped it sooner? To answer this, we must discuss a little bit about perspective and causality. Like Schrodinger's cat, simultaneously dead and alive, until you open the box and the universe collapses on one option, so are our leadership decisions. Not always, but sometimes, when it's difficult and there's no clear good way. In hindsight, with the box open and the cat clearly dead or alive, it's easy to say, it was always thus and we should have known earlier. But at that time, the cat was both dead and alive, and we couldn't have known. Also, if we look at it from a survivorship bias perspective, let's not only consider one client, but 10, or any number, but 10 is easy to visualize for an example. And it's not only clients, it's anything, but let's stick with clients for now. As we start working with 10 clients, for each of them, we have a set of challenges. Some things are good, some things are bad. At this moment, we do not know the future. All the 10 boxes are still closed. If one of them is this client and is to some degree worse than others, and we are to decide to stop working with it, what kind of a decision-making process and culture do we need to have in place in order to be able to even make such a decision? Decisions like this are not made willy-nilly. So for the company to be able and to want to make such a decision, it would in fact have to be a very different company. And this different company might, in its different ways, decide to stop working with 4 out of the 10 clients, for example, depending on where it draws the line of what's acceptable. And these things are never totally mathematically measurable, so there's going to be an element of subjectivity. And in an even broader sense, a company which is so quick to give up when it gets tough, it won't do this just with clients, it will do it with everything. You cannot separate culture surgically and decide to be one way with clients, but another way with people, for example. If you do one thing differently, you will do all things differently. And a company which starts to like to give up too quickly risks just as much as a company who never gives up and is stuck in sunk cost. And it does go back to culture. If we look at a different movie, Kingdom of Heaven, we see Saladin reprimanding his right-hand man, Imad al-Din al-Isfahani, that he let some prisoners of war be free and now they've rallied and are causing major problems as adversaries. And he's telling him, maybe you shouldn't have let them go. And Imad replies,
Perhaps I should have had a different teacher.
Saladin was his mentor, and he let them go because that was the right thing to do, as taught to him by his mentor, the person he's talking to. In effect, Imad is telling Saladin, yes, I could have very well done that if only I wasn't myself. But being that I am who I am, I actually couldn't have done that, and that theoretical choice was actually not a real choice. Not in this universe. And so are we as individuals, as leaders, and so are companies as cultures. All choices are theoretically possible, but only some choices are actually possible because of who we are. And going back to Paul's impossible choice, these kind of choices are sometimes the things that make us change and become something else, as does Paul, in order to be able to deal with the impossible decision, in order to see inside the box. And I know it's impossible to see inside the box in the strict physical sense of Schrödinger's Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, but for us it's just an analogy, so yes, we can sometimes peer a little inside the box, get a hint if nothing more. Paul drank the water of life to see inside the box and solve his impossible choice. But we don't have access to magic, so what can we do? It's more boring with us. Knowing ourselves, emotional intelligence, listening skills, analysis skills, communication skills, iterative decision making, prototyping, failure improvement, a lot of hard work. All these are our water of life. And what else can you learn from Paul about an impossible choice? A redefinition of the word impossible. Once you see as well as you possibly can, impossible becomes inevitable. It's the mirror image. The decision you cannot make will tell you the decision you have to make. And once you make it, you go with it all the way.